What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Week 13 is here, and it feels like the dog days, gentlemen. I believe we had a text flying around the group chat this week of the slate doesn't feel that great this week. And I got to be honest, the games are terrible. And that text came from one of our week-to-week co-hosts, which I'm joined alongside, and that's Jake. So, Jake, let's go to you quickly tonight as we intro the show.
He's a faker.
You're going to take back our words? Or, I mean, we talk smack on people who say those type of words on this show.
Did I actually say that? I don't even remember saying that.
When
did I say that? I didn't see. I don't remember saying that. I've been
Jake blacks out midweek.
I've been making a mockery of people who have been talking bad about the slate this week. So I
actually do think
you remember that? I'm not seeing
text things. All right, I'm gonna say it, and then second text. The slate's not very good. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine.
I mean, we can't lie and say like this. It's like eye popping, but it's still college football. I enjoy talking about it.
Caught him red-handed.
Trash on it.
Caught him red-handed. He was talking smack on the slate. That's on Jake. Can't happen. Won't happen again. But joined alongside the week-to-week co-host JP, Reese, and Jake. The Week 13 preview. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you've never been a part of the show. We're going to break down the Week 13 three marquee games along with our G5 game of the week. Then we will go into the betting segment, best bet, and the dog's dog, the underdog of the week, which those have been going fairly okay. But there's a lot to get to tonight. We're going to start it off with Week 12 recaps. Gents, first, how you doing? Tell me a little bit about what's going on in your life right now, Reese. So, what do we see today on Reese?
Go ahead, Shave. Shave's got a question.
If we've got a question, we got a question.
Round table.
Put it in the document, please.
Sorry, I wanted it to be a surprise. That's why I didn't want to put it.
I
didn't.
It was noted. It said Parks has a question.
Oh,
look it up.
Okay. So when is the appropriate time to put up a Christmas tree? Before Thanksgiving or after?
After.
Great question.
Wrong.
You're in the chat.
Wrong.
After.
Wrong. Good God. I'm on a show with the Grinches. Holy shit. Wrong answer.
Coming from you?
Christmas, Jake? The happy-go-lucky Jake loves Christmas? Is that when we get a different version of you? So winter break, Jake, in college, we never got. That why we never saw you?
Yeah.
I love Christmas. It's bowl season. We get presents. We're celebrating our Lord and Savior. Like, what is better than Christmas?
He likes trees too.
I love trees. Trees up in my house already. So
it's less of the love for Christmas for me and more about the respect of Thanksgiving that it deserves. It gets passed by too often.
That's a good point.
Which is fine. But if you're one of those people who puts up the Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving and then takes it down the day after Christmas, you're basically Satan. I don't know what to tell you. That's not the holiday spirit. Your Christmas tree at least needs to hang up until New Year's, at least the entire month of December. You're disappointed.
That's fair. I think that's Black Friday or the weekend of Black
November
Friday.
Too.
Yeah. Great take there, Reese. I think Black Friday, that weekend is a perfect time to put up your Christmas tree. And then you can keep it up.
Everybody's putting up their lights right now. Everybody's putting up their lights.
It's just because you're at the mercy of
what if they don't turn them on?
Oh, they're turning them on in the neighborhood.
There you go.
Also, you're one of the only ones. You are the only one that's experienced snow this season so far, to my knowledge.
Which was also kind of why I got in the mood to put up the tree.
See,
not gonna lie, the snow and the tree just kind of go well together. The snow's gone, but the tree still stands.
It was like 75 degrees in beautiful Omaha last week. It was just game changing.
It was nice. Yep.
Absolutely gorgeous. But all right. Good question. You got kind of one-sided there.
Yeah, I got 3-on-1 there.
It's what happens. I think I agree with the
unbelievable. It's like our picks all year. I just 3-on-1. Jake's
actually 4-on-1.
He's dead last on the
GA
board.
Was on its side too. GA's in the chat tonight. Shout out to GA.
We got our listeners ganging up on
Where's AKC at?
Just keep getting beat to the curb here in 2025 for this college football season.
So, hey, no wonder he's trying to get to the end of the year faster. Come on, Christmas. Week 12 takeaways. Gentlemen, go ahead, JP.
Programming note for next week.
Yes. Programming note for next week. Yes, the lowdown for it. Show will be going live same time, Wednesday night, 7:30. However, it will be a pre-recorded show. Still comment, still do your full thing. If you're within the chat, we'll get back to you. We'll probably respond back, be watching wherever we are. But just due to travel restrictions and the holiday upcoming the day after, it will be a pre-recorded show, but still airing live on Wednesday night. So the lines might be a little bit messier. Other than that, you're going to get the.
We might need to go balls to the walls for like rivalry week, like just rapid fire, 20 games, 20 picks, just go all on.
This feels like an off-show talk, but I love it. I
thinking out loud here.
All right.
Hey,
well, let's
know.
round
table. Those bad ideas about it. No good.
Yeah. Great meeting.
We're soundboard geniuses tonight.
We're the Week 12 takeaways, gents. Let's talk about Week 12. Some upsets, some close games. The 11 a.m. slate was elite, to say the least. We got some great matchups this weekend that sets it up. Give us your thoughts, your takeaway from the game.
There he is.
Yes, the Friday KC.
It's a sweep. It was a sweep.
G5 game of the week. The sweep, the underdog of the week, covers and wins. Just a great week for Jack State on the national stage and all the recognition they've got. So shout out to the Friday KC. Your Week 12 takeaway as a whole. College football playoff rankings games. What are you thinking? Jake, you up?
Yeah, here comes the train. The train of coaching chaos. Like Jay, you just saw James Franklin go off the board.
Yep.
We can maybe talk about that another time. I think it was a great hire by Vatek. And the Lane Kiffin rumors are churning. The John Summerall rumors are churning. Maybe we'll get to that a little
thing
bit.
Today was like, oh, he's going and now he's not going. Like that's crazy.
He's the best. He's the best coach to follow on Twitter, by the way. He's an absolute troll, and it is to die for. He's one of my favorite coaches. And then on top of that, you're going to start to see like these jobs maybe start to fill up or like these rumors. But then on top of it, fellas, unfortunately, next week is the last week of college football. So you're going to see the coaching carousel pick up next Sunday. What would that be?
Black Sunday.
Yeah, Black Sunday. Like we're going to have a bunch more jobs open, and it's going to be all absolute.
One of the two colors.
all absolute chaos leading up to conference championship in the coaching cycle. So I think it's officially starting now.
And it's going to be a big time swing week within college football this week to kind of figure out who's going to be playing in their conference championship games. I mean, some you kind of feel like you have a clear picture on, but college football will always keep you on the edge of your seat. JP, your Week 12 takeaway.
Yeah. Can a team without a run game win a national title?
That was discussed on that was funny. That was discussed on Mac and Cube. I think that was last week. They were talking about Alabama specifically.
I think there's multiple teams that fit into it, right? It's Oklahoma, it's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Texas. Probably, I mean, USC's had a pretty good run game, but you wonder what that's like against a really good front.
Depleted.
I just think you look at it, and it's true in which there are a lot of teams that aren't elite, but really good. But there are some really good teams with really good run games. Like, I think that is kind of the differentiator to me at this point. And I don't know if a team can go out there and run for, I mean, it's all relative, right? Like if you pop for 90 in a game and it works because everything else is supplementing it, I get it. But if you're struggling a little bit on one side of the ball, then the run game's not working. I think the good gets even worse, or the bad, you know what I meant. But like,
no, yeah, I think
Iowa's a national contender. What are you saying?
I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to dive into it, but just like initial thought based off that question, I just flip it. If you're heavy on one side or the other, passing or running the football, I think you need to be balanced to win a national championship, and that gives me. I think I can think of 4 teams on the top of my head that are actually legit balanced as far as like that pool of 12. The 12 playoff teams. I think of like 4 right now. That would be
right.
Are 3 of them Big Ten teams in your head?
I was thinking Georgia, Ohio State, Texas Tech.
Well, we're
A&M. A&M.
I would no. I was going
Indiana's pretty balanced.
Indiana, Ohio State,
yep.
Oregon, but Tech is a good one. I would add them into that.
Yeah.
If you're calling Georgia a good balanced, good run game, we can't. You know what I mean? Like,
I was more so flipping it to the other side. I don't know if I trust the pass game out of Oregon. That was where I was going with that.
Until it's absolutely shut down in a situation, I think I feel okay about it.
It's fair.
Personal opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I feel it's definitely a fair question. Probably something the general fan watching the sport, you don't notice if a team doesn't have a run game as much if they can sling it around a little bit, especially with all the teams at the top. But it does matter.
Although Washington was probably one a couple years ago that would fit this mold like of an Alabama or a Georgia or Texas, right? Where the run game doesn't usually pop, but it's there when they need it in some spots. They also had a pretty good back to lean on. And he got hurt. That changed that. But I don't know. To me, it's shrinking the pool a little bit more.
That wasn't Coleman, right? They had somebody else. Didn't Washington have somebody else? It wasn't just Coleman.
7. It was number 7.
Trivia.
I can't think of it. Who's got it? The chat will have it. Yeah, he's number 7. I know exactly who you're talking about. All right, the chat's got us at some point here. The chat will come through. This is bad. This is a college football show. Reese, your Week 12 takeaway while we figure that out, or let the public figure that out.
I'll just look at it.
I want to make a T-shirt with Kirby Smart's face on it and say "hero." Because can we finally put to bed this Texas talk for the college football? Because
I wish.
There's no
I
way.
wish we could.
There's no because you know
there's a guy out there.
Texas still has A&M to end the year. Like if they win that one, then like maybe I'll hear an argument. But right now, I'll hear no argument for
that. Involves Texas going on the road and beating a good team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if they go in there and they win that one, then like I'll hear an argument. But right now, I hear nothing. You get boat race like that, and Smart does that with that onside kick. Like I'm tired of all the Texas talk. I'm Kirby Smart.
I think a lot of people.
I'm going to throw a guess out at Jake Allen. Is the last name Allen or my
last name Johnson?
Pretty basic last name. Dylan Johnson.
Dylan Johnson.
Freaking knew it was
number 7.
I couldn't think of the last name.
Yes, I clicked through it fast, but I think you're right.
All right, we got that out of the way. I like that, Reese, though. It's definitely a conversation need to be had. I mean, Georgia had their way with Texas. It's unbelievable. Just an absolute blowout. Shout out to Logan. Welcome to the show. My Week 12 takeaway is
get him out, CBJ.
I have no idea what's going to happen to end this college football season because even in the teams that have been dominant throughout the entire season and majority of games, I still don't feel like great. Like we've seen the downside of Indiana, not just the Penn State game, but in Kinnick, they struggled. Ohio State, I mean, they've started slow in some games, but they just kind of sleep their walkway through a good schedule. That Michigan game will be pretty fun to watch. How about Michigan just lingering around the top 25 and they survived Northwestern this weekend? Like, is there going to be a story to tell at the end of the year? I don't know. Go ahead, Jake.
Kind of going back to Reese's point, because I know JP had some words for me I quickly put Texas above. I put Texas above USC and Michigan in my poll, and more so like both of those teams have a chance to prove that they're playoff caliber, literally this week and or next week. Then they can both pass Texas for me, which was kind of
to me though. You saying, "Oh well, they have a chance to pass them." We're in week 13. Like, what is this? We have chances. This isn't a week 2. Like, oh, just show me. We're in week 13.
Yeah,
man.
no, yeah, that's true. Also, Jack State and Iowa State and Shreveport would be absolutely. Jack State will just come ready to play, and Iowa State will not. Actually, Jack State versus K-State in Shreveport there Friday. KC, we're playing Nebraska in the Rate Bowl. I'm speaking on it now. I can't wait.
He's begging for it.
Nebraska, Iowa State Rate Bowl. Also,
Iowa State's back ready for the national stage. I see. They just want to get back out with those big time programs and match up to see if they can get their 20th win against Nebraska or their 77th loss. Okay, that is the Week 12 takeaways. Let's move into Week 13, gents. We got some games to break down here. Let's start it off with College Game Day, and I'll ask this question to the panel before. Do you like College Game Day being there? Do you not like College Game Day being there? I know JP had some thoughts on JP.
No, I mean, it's fine that it's going there. Like I don't have anything against it necessarily. My whole thing we've gone from this idea of like they're doing cool things, they're going a ton of different places. And ever since the merge of these bigger conferences and some other TV deals, it feels like that's kind of gone by the wayside, right? Like I feel like there's less real thought into exposing people to the sport of college football, to getting all levels, to really showing you the country. And so like you have the Brawl of the Wild and it's 2 versus 3 in the FCS. And it's one of the biggest Brawl of the Wild. This is the highest ranked both teams have been in it. And it's not
had a chance to go to Brookings this year too.
Didn't they go there a couple years ago or like a year ago?
They've been there before.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Fair argument.
Not to do this over our USC Oregon preview.
The only thing I could think of is that they had the chance to go to Brookings this year before South Dakota State has collapsed. When they were 1-2 with North Dakota State earlier in the year, and it's kind of the same argument as literally we're having now. Is they went to Brookings a few years ago for that exact same game. I think they went to Missoula or Bozeman. I think they went to Missoula. Yeah. So the only thing I can think of is right. You're right, JP. Like they've adopted the SEC stuff. They're only doing big games, big programs. Or the other part of me is like, is the logistics of it. Did they just have a tough time getting to Brookings, to Missoula when they did it the first time? Did it not get that much good feedback as far as ratings go for those shows? I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're right. No, JP, we're purists. We understand that, but that's what I'm kind of
I'm thinking. My only gripe
we're not
is
the
that
execs.
Early in the year, I can understand it because, right, you haven't been to certain places for, maybe it's 2 years or maybe it's just you haven't been there yet this year. And there's kind of like your staples. You're going to go to Athens. You're going to end up in Tuscaloosa, probably going to end up in Austin, in Columbus, and kind of go down the list, right? But you've been to Eugene already, right? And it's just, I just want to see a variety of stuff. It's unique. Would you rather be like, oh, where's game day at this weekend? Oh, they're in Eugene again, or they're in Columbus again? Or would you be like, hey, they're actually, they're somewhere different this time. They're in Brookings, they're in Fargo, they're in Missoula, they're in, what is that, Arkadelphia, Arkansas, where that D2's rivalry was kind of teased for a second. Like that's unique.
They're in Jacksonville, Alabama. I mean, they've had some opportunities.
I wonder if there is a correlation between the ratings on game day, depending on where they're at. Like, do you think that's a big deal? Because it's all the same. You think it's
1,000%?
It's the same. It's the same. Personally, I'm just going to turn it on either way. I don't really care where they're at. It's just kind of like your morning ritual to just put it on.
Yeah, it's background noise. Yeah, 100%. So, but you'd be more inclined to sit down and like take in the atmosphere and kind of want to see everything if it was somewhere you hadn't seen in a while or before.
That just may be
the flowers. Pitt was fun last week. I enjoyed Pittsburgh. That was cool.
It was until that second quarter started. Boy, oh boy, that one got out of hand. But all right, now let's go into the game. These previews are presented by our great partner over at No Rivals. Shop NoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on your order. The best hats in collegiate sport just in time for the Christmas gifts you need. So check them out today. Shop NoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS. And they're running some sales on there. I do not believe our code doubles up with their sale, but you're going to save 15% anyway by putting in the code PTFS off of your shipping. No shipping charge anywhere in the country. Shout out shopnorivals.com today. All right, USC, Oregon, big time, Big Ten game in Eugene this weekend. Still feels weird to say that. Oregon, damn near 10-point favorite, gents. USC's been struggling, survived a couple of games the last 3 weeks. Oregon, people really, this is going to be a tall tale sign for the college football playoff, really. That's what people feel like this game is. It's lose and you're out. What do you feel about it? Where do you see the game? Break it down for us. JP, you first.
Yeah, to me, can USC stay balanced, right? This has been an offensive attack that's been able to run the ball and throw it really well. Obviously, when you have pieces on the outside lane and why am I blanking on his last name right now? Lemon, why that was awful. In Lane and Lemon, like they changed games. They're really tough guards. And the run game has been supplemented really well. The offensive line's not massive. They're a little more athletic, get out and block you in space, get to the second level. Oregon's built kind of in the interior to defend that speed sideline to sideline. I think when they got in trouble with Indiana, it was more, the pass game was so good. And then Indiana just runs right at you, right? USC is going to find a way to be a little more meticulous and a little more designed to get on the edge with their running back. So how balanced can you stay against a really good defense? And then I just highlighted Lane and Lemon. How do they look on a really young but really talented Oregon secondary? I think that'll be something to highlight and watch. This is going to be the biggest test, maybe a better receiving core than Indiana, but I'd say the highlights are, pretty similar in a lot of ways. Like you're not going to look at, Elijah Surratt and say he's just, he's not as good as these two because he's been just as good, if not one of the better receivers in the country. So there's another challenge here for Oregon to deal with. And they got another guy in Maeva that's hit every pass and been really good in keeping things on the money. So I want to watch that right there. Can you be disruptive of the Oregon run game, which has been one of the best in the country, the best in the Big Ten? You look at how they kind of operate with Dante Moore. If they can keep him clean, they get him out of the pocket, high percentage throws, he's been money. USC makes their hay when they're disruptive. They're getting in the backfield, getting to the quarterback, creating pressures. They are susceptible to the run. They are susceptible to the big play. So how does that really work when Oregon's kind of going through their scheme? And how many does Oregon pop and how many does USC pop just on talent alone? So to me, that's the two things I'm going to watch. How does USC handle the run game on defense? And then how does Oregon defend these talented receivers with a young but really talented defensive back core?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Oregon dials up their defense against the pass, because it seems like week over week, and it's just been increasing throughout the Big Ten conference season, is Jade Maeva wants to get Makai Lemon the ball, as he should. But when teams like Nebraska kind of took that off their plate, it really stunned their pass game. So I'll be interested to see what Oregon secondary and Dan Lanning can cook up against that offense, because you take a lot out of their hands. And in a plus situation for Oregon, Nebraska didn't defend the run very well that night. King Miller has been great. Backup running back, right? Third stringer. It's really stepped up. Obviously very talented. Definitely earned himself a scholarship later in this season. But the matchup in the position group for me to watch for both teams in this game is their linebacking core, because both these teams love to do slow mesh counters to get to the outside, like JP was talking about. They love to utilize their pulling guards. Which linebackers can create the most havoc within the run game and make the most stops when it comes to throwing the ball? Because I really feel like this is going to be a slow, methodical start. And then Oregon, I just like it. What they have, I don't love the matchup for USC and what they want to do offensively. I think Oregon can dial up enough to limit Makai Lemon this weekend. It's just the initial feel. Maybe I'll be flipped over from what Jake's got.
No, I think that's a great point. I'm with you there, Parks. I think the linebackers are extremely important, especially on the USC side. That's like my one concern in this game is the USC defensive line. You know, you saw in the Iowa game last week, USC secondary kind of got banged up. Oregon feels like they kind of got their pass game a little bit corrected against Minnesota. 8 different guys caught passes. I just worry when you have a banged up secondary for USC, the D-line has been struggled to create pressure for USC. And we already know how good of an offensive line Oregon has, maybe the best in college football. I just don't see USC's defense having a ton of success in this game. They gave up 228 yards to Jeremiah Love, 165 to Emmett Johnson. Probably could have been more had Dylan Raiola stayed in the game and had a threat to throw the football instead of throwing TJ Lateef in there. And then even against Iowa, they still gave up 6 yards per play. So the USC defense has struggled here. It feels like, to me, kind of feels like the Alabama-Oklahoma game last week. Like if Oklahoma goes out there and they created the turnovers, tip the cap. If USC can go out there and create turnovers and they somehow find a way to win this game, tip the cap, I just don't really see that happening. I think you're going to need turnovers, and then Lemon, Lane, and Maeva, like that three-headed monster is going to have to be special, like an outwardly game. And we saw Mendoza have a little bit success, and I think Mendoza's a better quarterback than Maeva. I don't really know what USC has in store. Maybe they've been hiding something to finally bring out in Eugene on Saturday.
Reese.
So, yeah, I think if USC is able to keep Maeva upright, that's going to help out a lot. Because like JB talked about, secondary is like they're young, but they're very talented. And then, you know, it's a Lincoln Riley offense. Like Lemon and Lane, they're very experienced and smart wide receivers. Like they can find soft spots in zone, or if they can keep plays or get open, if Maeva's got to get out of the pocket and find spots like to pick up big plays downfield. But then, yeah, kind of like Shay was just talking about, the USC defense, I think, has a tall tale ahead of them because we know how balanced this Oregon attack is. I think in the Big Ten, they're probably one of, if not the most balanced. You saw what they did against Iowa. They got the ground game going. That helped open some passing lanes eventually later in the game as well, too. So what is Oregon? Because we know Will Stein, he's a hell of a coordinator. He's going to take what the defense is going to give him. So if USC is going to play off him, 5-10 yards on some third and longs, like they'll take the under routes and they'll make a guy miss. Like they have the athletes that can do that. It's just D'Anton Lynn, I think, has got to have one hell of a game scheme and get some stuff planned up, because if Oregon goes in there and is successful early, I think USC is going to be playing catch up. I'm not saying that they can't, but I think the big thing for USC to say in this football game is like the first half, you got to get stops on third down. You can't give up multiple third downs on the same drive that end in 6. And you got to find a way to get a takeover in plus territory, I think, or in your territory if you are the USC defense, because give your guys a short field because you have the weapons to score points on offense. So you got to find ways just to give Lincoln Riley the ball multiple times to try to get some extra points on the board for your boys.
You sparked a thought quick before we go to picks, Reese. I think one thing to note is I did say they're going to start methodically and slow. I will say that probably after the first drive USC has on defense, because they have been awful against scripted drives. They've just given up touchdowns or points on pretty much every first drive of the game this year to everybody. Yeah. So watch for Oregon to go down the field first. But the Antlins, they've made good adjustments throughout the game and kind of settled in. So we'll see how this one goes. Let's go picks. Oregon as a 9.5-point favorite at home against USC. Where do you see it? Who do you like to win the game? Who do you like to cover the number? Jake.
I don't love USC just giving 7 up right away in Eugene. That just feels like a bad spot. And we've seen them struggle a little bit on the road this year. Yeah, I said it goes back to my Bama OU pick last week. If USC goes out there and gets their turnovers and they somehow win this game, good for you. But I see this as a double-digit win for Oregon. I like Oregon pretty effortlessly in this. And the college football fan in me wants USC to win. I think it could be really chaotic in the Big Ten in the playoff picture if they do find a way to pull off this upset. But for now, I like Oregon.
I talked about the gut feeling I had in this game, and the gut feeling I think is based off of it feels like USC has been surviving and not thriving, even though they're ranked as high as they are. And I feel like this may just be a little bit of a slap back down to where Lincoln Riley's team is at. So I like Oregon to cover the number at home here. JP.
Yeah, can USC be this year's Washington to Oregon? You remember that Penix team was kind of similar in some ways, really good receiving core, a solid back, and not an elite offensive line, but got the job done. The defense was touch and go in some spots.
I like the head coach
bigger task
better than
the
USC coach.
Washington didn't have to go into Eugene and win that football game. They was home in Seattle, and they were neutral, right? So that changes things. But to me, man, I was seeing both these teams in back-to-back weeks or back-to-back games. I'm kind of in a spot where if you're USC, you're kind of pent up for this one. This is a big one, right? And Oregon's on the other side. I'm going to take USC in the points. Oregon will win. I think there's just a certain spot where Oregon knows this is coming. USC's had this one circled, though, knowing this has to happen, right? So I'm going to take plus the points here with USC.
Reese.
Yeah, it's gross. I think what's the Lincoln Riley stat like in big time games since he's been there like 1-7. But he doesn't have to win the football game. He just got to give me the points. And I think my on that receiver core can put up a little bit of a fight against this Oregon secondary who, I mean, we saw Indiana go into their place and have some success and win that football game. So I think USC can still go in there and at least put up a fight and not get beat by 10. So,
all right, a 2-2 split to open tonight's show. That is the matchup in the Big Ten. Reminder, I'm going to throw this out there. And I didn't tell the co-host this before the show, but it's Christmas season. Let's do some giving. If you're in the live chat, put your score prediction in there. If you hit it on the nose for this game, we will give you a free no rivals cap. Neither of these teams are on no rivals, so we got to request them for you. But you can pick a cool collegiate hat out there. There's a bunch of small time programs, whoever you may follow on the back end of your season. Check them out. ShopNoRivals.com. You get a free hat if you drop a score prediction in the comments right now or in the YouTube clip on us on Play the Fight Song. Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, that's the Big Ten game of the week. Let's move on to the Big 12. Let's talk this game, gentlemen. BYU headed on the road to Nippert to play Cincinnati as a 2.5-point favorite. Cincinnati slipped up as of late. BYU coming off a, to say tough loss, to say the lightest, is a nice way to put it, right? But coming Cincinnati, yeah, it was. I wouldn't know. I had to see the clips of it. Shout out to YouTube TV. But Cincinnati and BYU is going to be a massive game within the Big 12. And for BYU season, Jake, break it down for us.
On paper, Cincinnati feels balanced enough on offense and has the physicality up front, especially on the offensive line, to go head-to-head with BYU. It is a tricky spot because you like wounded animal mode at its finest here. You have Cincinnati, who I guess has something to play for still. Like, I think they can still backdoor their way into the Big 12 title. They're going to come out ready to play night game against one of the country's best teams coming to your stadium. So Cincinnati is going to want to be amped up for this game. I know that they will be, but they just haven't been playing that well recently. Sorsby's been very mediocre through the air the last few games, 3 interceptions in 3 games. He hasn't thrown over 200 yards in 2 of the last 3 games. I think he needs Evan Pryor back, and I really don't know the health status of him. Tawi Walker's been running really well, but it's kind of like Iowa State in a sense. Like when you have Sama and Hansen, it just makes the run game so much better. You need Pryor and Walker to be on the field at the same time, because I saw it against BYU firsthand. When Iowa State had Sama and Hansen going, it was good. Then Sama got hurt, and they limited Hansen. But BYU gives up 3.7 yards per carry. So it's a tough run defense. It's going to be really good. I also think, like, besides Cyrus Allen, Cincinnati's receivers have, I'll just say it, they've kind of turned into pumpkins. Like Joe Royer just hasn't really panned out to being the receiver tight end that we kind of expected him to be. And some of those other guys really haven't stepped up the last few weeks. So they need somebody else besides Allen to make some plays. I think BYU just continues to get better. I think Texas Tech is a legit national title contender. It has no opinion on me that they went to Lubbock and got slapped around. BYU is still one of the top teams in the country and a really, really good football team within this league. LJ Martin being back last week was huge. His health is imperative for this offense. And again, I saw it firsthand. Bachmeier's best game this year was probably against Iowa State. What style of defense does Cincinnati run? It's an old Iowa State coach, Tyson Veit, who's their defensive coordinator. I think Bachmeier can really have success against the Cincinnati defense. If Cincinnati does come out hot and they score a bunch of points and the stadium's rocking, I still trust BYU to stay in this game. Iowa State, again, got up 24-7 on BYU. The stadium was juiced. And BYU is just I say it all the time with this team, you got to cut the head off the snake. Texas Tech did it, but I don't know if there's much teams left in this league that can do the same and put BYU to bed early if they do build a big lead. So I think the task is still up for a major tall task for Cincinnati on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think this game, a lot falls down onto the BYU secondary and how they can step up. I mean, we've talked about the wounded backfield of Cincinnati, but there's a lingering factor out there that attributed each Cincinnati loss this year all the way back to Nebraska. And that's when Sorsby can't throw the ball effectively. I mean, last week, I think he was 15 for 30. And then in the Utah blowout, he was 15 for 40. If he can't get the ball to the outside and those receivers truly did turn into pumpkins, this Cincinnati offense is just stagnant as can be. Mm-hmm. BYU can limit that pass game, make him run the ball, slow the game down, and let BYU's offense basically just take care of business, because Jake just told you that matchup. BYU should have their way here in Nippert. But if Sorsby can I think you got to scheme things a little bit differently for Sorsby this week. Like, it doesn't all have to be downfield and chunk plays. Just nickel and dime it and get things up and let your athletes make plays. Get Joe Royer more involved. As stagnant as he's been within his game, it's still probably first-round draft pick, second-round draft pick at the latest for what his game is expected to be. They can get him going again. Cincinnati can make this a game. And don't be shocked if they do. I mean, BYU is a really good team. They've been on the national stage now multiple times. But we were talking about the Cincinnati team at 7-2 headed into Utah just a few short weeks ago, which, as Reese calls it, the hardest place to play in college football. So it's not like
they made it seem like that night.
World. They sure did. Utah had their way with Cincinnati. But again, in that game, Sorsby, 11 for 33 for 221, a touchdown and a pick. Last week, 2 picks. He's got to be better through the air, and because Cincinnati's overall better if he can be. JP?
Yeah, 43.5% completion percentage the last 2 games combined. For me, LJ Martin and this team may just put themselves in a situation where it's suffocation. It's just the same way BYU's won a lot of football games, just slowly start to strangle you out of things. Arizona 181 on the ground, 4.3 yards carry. Utah 267. For me, though, there's a reason the line sits at 2.5, right? This is a neutral site, 5.5, 6-point thing. I just think there's more to Cincinnati than maybe gets led on to be. I think this is a team that understands their shortcomings the last couple of weeks. It's a guy in Sorsby that's been around the block, understands what has to change. They come home, they get comfortable, they find a way to kind of battle. But they have to get off to a good start, like Jake said. This can't be a battle from behind after BYU's already had a chance to slow this thing down. So for me personally, it is kind of as simple as Sorsby being better. And the defensive line has kind of a one-man wrecking crew in some ways for Cincinnati, and it hasn't been enough. And now you're dealing with a really good offensive line in BYU and a really good run game in general. Problem is BYU is not going to turn it over and give you anything. So you're going to have to find ways to create havoc, and maybe that's pop a special teams player and make a couple really good plays in the defensive secondary. That's just how you're going to have to win this game. And so I don't think it's as simple as the line lays out, but that's part of this, and that's what you get when you play a BYU team.
Reese.
Yeah, looking at BYU's linebacking core, I mean, Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasgow, I think when you're looking at BYU defense, like physicality, I think up front, they're going to be more physical, because we've seen Cincinnati, like, they want to run the football and they want to get that going, because we've seen what Sorsby can do with his legs. But if that linebacking core can help fill in gaps and take away what they want to do up front, then I think it just kind of opens up that BYU to have their way with that Cincinnati offense. Talk about the struggles that Sorsby just had, the 3 turnovers in 3 games, like, just not what we saw at the beginning of the year, where he had 1 interception in the first 9-8 games or whatever it was. So, like, teams are kind of starting to scheme him up and figure it out, like, hey, if we take this away and we make him go over here, this is what's going on here. But then it's also just, I think it's just, like I said, the Cincinnati physicality up front. If they're able to kind of push him around, they can keep around in this football game. And like JP was just saying too as well, you get special teams, you get some big plays in the secondary. You're at home. It's your kind of your last hurrah, maybe something like big to happen. I forget who they have next week, but like this is one where it's like, hey, you can get this. you get this big win at home to like, hey, this is still a very competent football team, and we can make some noise. And if you can sneak into a Big 12, I mean, who the hell knows? But I think BYU is just, they got a lot going from it. Bachmeier's been pretty good offensively for them as well, too. So I think BYU defense is just going to be a little more than I think Cincinnati's used to. So.
What do you mean, Reese? You should know it. Cincinnati's got TCU. It's a big time rivalry next weekend. Cincinnati, TCU. You know all the past hatred from those Big 12 programs.
Huge. Yeah.
But all right, let's go into picks for this matchup. BYU 2.5-point favorite on the road. Do you see him covering the number? Do you see him running away with it, Jake?
Yeah, the Big 12 has really not been like the chaotic Big 12 we're kind of accustomed to. And this would be one that would really kind of get the conference back on its course. But that being said, I think it's been pretty chalk for a reason. I'm done doubting BYU in these scenarios. I feel like I've been decently right on BYU for the most part. So I trust BYU to go on the road and win this by a touchdown.
Decently right. BYU fans would argue against it. I think, didn't you pick Iowa State to beat BYU?
No, sir.
I picked you would have thought by the comments.
I picked BYU and I picked Tech.
All right. He's been very right. I don't know why you discredited yourself there, but I like BYU here to cover the number. I think that just because the number's at where it's at, like even a walk-off field goal feels great if Cincinnati plays damn near perfect, which I feel they'll have to be. I think BYU's defensive line gets after Sorsby a few times when he drops back to pass this weekend. And I think they take care of business on the road in Nippert, and we can kind of nip the Cincinnati the Big 12 title game in the butt. JP.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Bud. Isn't that Ted Lasso where they talk about that? It's like you nip it in the bud, go back to flour stuff.
That's a thing.
Ted Lasso. I already laid it with BYU personally. So I'll take BYU here. I just think the matchup stinks, but it's a line that makes no sense. This is the one you always look at and you're trying to figure out what in the world, smell the rat kind of thing. But BYU is favored slightly here instead of Cincinnati in an odd spot. So there is a chance that BYU, gets down early in a lively atmosphere. It just kind of works their way back. But it's just not a matchup I love for the Cats.
Reese?
Hum Cougs. I'll take BYU on the road.
All right. There's the sweep across the board for BYU to cover the number on the road at Cincinnati this weekend. Let's leave that one in the Big 12. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to another Power 4 conference. Let's talk the ACC, gentlemen. Let's head over and talk about Ramblin' Wreck facing Pitt coming off of a national television-based loss. College game day in town. Notre Dame comes in and pretty much has their way with a young quarterback. And Pitt's looking to bounce back. You saw Narduzzi put the emphasis on this game. It doesn't mean much to our program if we win the next two. We'll put ourselves in a really good spot. Well, here comes Georgia Tech, a team who, similar to what I said about USC, has felt like they're surviving and not thriving, but still being ranked 16th in the country and really controlling their own fate within the ACC. Where do you see this game, gentlemen? Reese, you're first.
Yeah, I think it's Georgia Tech. I mean, you saw Heinkel struggle last week. It's a very solid Notre Dame team, but you saw them. He's a young quarterback. You mix up your looks. You get pressure on him early. Georgia Tech, they don't have a lot of sacks for the season, but they're good at generating pressure. And when you generate pressure, a young quarterback, he wants to get rid of it quick. He goes to his first read. Guess what? We had that guy covered up in zone. He comes down, takes that ball, goes away for 6. So I think Georgia Tech defense is huge in this one. Where are you able to limit Pitt when it comes out offensively? And then it's also just taking away big plays too. Obviously, Pitt, they do throw the ball well. Heinkel is getting guys downfield, so you're limiting that as well. And that's also like Georgia Tech offensively, when you are in the red zone, like you're scoring on 95% of your trips, like that is huge. Like that is something absolutely when you're at home, you need to be successful doing, because like this is a spot where if you're going to be in the ACC championship at the end of the game, got to capitalize on 6 when you're going there. And then we saw that kind of the Pitt secondary has been a little bit more vulnerable. We saw CJ Carr and company take a little bit of advantage of that as well too. Jeremiah Love ran the ball extremely well too. But what helps out the pass game is when the it's when the ground game is going good. So yeah, I think in this spot it's just Pitt had all that going for them, and then they kind of get shot in the knee a couple of times. Like you kind of limp into the barn going on the way here to a Georgia Tech, but it's a spot too. It's still Pat Narduzzi. He said that weird comment, whatever. But like it's
this
a coach
matters.
that knows
last week didn't matter.
Yeah,
this one matters.
He knows how to fire his guys up and go get a chance. Like I said, it's just the Georgia Tech defense is kind of the key here. We've seen what the Georgia Tech offense can do, and they can put up some points. And the issue is if Pitt gets down early, they have to throw the ball a lot. And I think Heinkel might turn the ball over a couple of times, and that's just going to be problematic. Obviously, so I like Georgia Tech in the spot.
JP.
Yeah, there's a clear advantage for both teams here. I think that's, something to just talk about, right? The Georgia Tech run game against the Pitt front that's been, when they're playing teams that don't run it well or run it okay, they've been pretty stout. They play teams that are pretty solid with it. They struggle a little bit more. Then the Pitt pass game Reese touched on, there is plenty to get on this Georgia Tech secondary. You've seen multiple teams go out and do it. And it's kind of becoming an epidemic in some ways in Atlanta, and they have not been able to stop it. I kind of think on the other side of what Reese was saying, if Pitt gets to drop back and throw it, I think Heitschel is going to just be confident. Now, there is a chance for the turnovers to happen. You got to have guys there to catch the football if you're the defense, though, not just let receivers run open, which has been a problem in Atlanta. So for me, you're looking at a team in Georgia Tech that probably feels like they're a little more up against it than what the national perception is. Like in that building, I think they're kind of feeling a little more pressure than what everybody's giving them on the outside. Pitt, you watched them kind of get run out of the building last week. I wouldn't say the score tells you that, but I mean, that thing was over pretty quick on just how Notre Dame wanted to handle it, right? And can Georgia Tech hit the big plays and pop a couple the way Pitt has generally? That's another thing. I think Haynes King's had an invitation to New York type of season, which for whatever reason has stopped getting any momentum to it. But there is, there's a real chance that you just get a Georgia Tech football game, right? They control the football. They play 4 downs. They consistently move the chains on short or third and short. They don't turn it over, and they kind of go there. Or you get the other side of that where they're giving up the big play. A ball drops. Haynes King throws a weird one. He's banged up. You're putting too much on his shoulders. And here's a Pitt team with a pretty decent defensive line who wants to bring pressure. And they do that, and they do it successfully. So there's 2 ways I think this could go. My initial thought was over here and kind of what that looks like. But it just depends. I think this is just a chaos game. It's an ACC chaos game with 2 teams that can be really good or really bad, and you don't know what's going to happen. Put it in a bottle, shake it, let's see what explodes out of it.
Yeah, I always talk about what Georgia Tech does as a program, and it's fortunate and unfortunate at times, and that's play to their opponent's level. Granted, Pitt's been playing pretty consistently well throughout the year outside of last week, but then you look at Georgia Tech last week, and they get into a dogfight with a 1-win Boston College team. And it's not like the offense wasn't good. And I mean, they still put up, the 30 plus
yards,
630 yards of offense. There's nobody in the FBS that puts up more yards per game offensively than Georgia Tech. The defense has got to come through. They've got to make those mistakes from a young freshman quarterback, similar to what Notre Dame did early in that game, to really get that advantage early and ride it out. I always give you, something's got to give. The rushing game is this for that. Georgia Tech, 10th ranked rushing offense in college football, over 220 yards a game. Pitt defends the run really well, just over 90 yards a game, top 10 in college football. So that's your matchup right there, right? You got to see if Georgia Tech can get things going on the ground. And is it going to be one of those styles where we have to watch Haynes King look like the wear and tear meter on college football 26 is all the way down? There's a lot of outcomes in this game. I can see it going either way, but you kind of know where I'm going if you've seen the show before. Jake.
I was wondering where you're going, because this is going to be a true test to see how well you've stuck with your Ram.
I know, but they're playing up now. They're playing
but a non-ranked Pitt team.
Yeah, still playing up. Pat Narduzzi, good team.
This is the real test, gentlemen. Like, this is the test to see where Pitt actually stacks within the ACC. I've completely wiped my memory, clean slate from last week against Notre Dame. It does not impact my decision to pick this game whatsoever. You mentioned it, Parks. They're still top 10 in rush defense, even after getting gashed by Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's a different animal right now. We talked about it. Like, Mason Heitschel has been really good versus those 5 terrible ACC teams they've played. Well, Georgia Tech's not a bad ACC team. Fellas, their defense is...
They've had bad moments.
That defense is a bad
Their
ACC
defense
team.
is bottom 5 in the ACC right now. It's horrendous. Heitschel's thrown for 300-plus yards. 4 of those 5 ACC games he's played. Georgia Tech ranks 103rd in total defense. They gave up 525 yards on defense the last 2
good scheme. Well,
the last 2 games. It's absolutely baffling. I don't think, guys, JP kind of mentioned it before with my Texas argument. We're in late November. What are you figuring out at this point? You are what you basically are right now with 2 weeks left in the season, and it's a bad defense. And then on the other side, it's like, wow, is Georgia Tech just the SMU of last year? Do they just continue to find ways to win in this weird league? And we get Georgia Tech in the ACC title game, because that's all they got to do. They got to win this game, and they're in. They have Georgia next week. But also, I laid this out there. It's this open table. Is this a look-ahead spot for Georgia Tech? I know it's win to get to the ACC. Guys, how many times have we
can't be.
If how many times have we talked about this Georgia Tech game?
Secured.
I understand what it is. They haven't beaten Georgia in a decade. This would still look really good on their resume if they lose this week and then beat Georgia next week. And then we're like, well, can they get 10-2? Could that be an at-large spot? I don't know. It's just, I feel like we've been talking about that game for so long, and here comes Pitt, and it's a shot to go to Charlotte.
Mark this spot in the show because I can't wait until next week. We get the clip after Georgia wins that game of Brent Key like, hey, I don't care if we played him in the empty lot, in the parking lot. I don't make those decisions where we play, and then Georgia will fill the stadium and roll them in that spot. So I'm just marking that now. It's a little early, but that will come. All right, let's pick this game. Pitt at Georgia Tech. Pitt is a 2.5-point dog coming off their bad loss. Georgia Tech coming off their bad win. Can you say that? Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Let's see how to pick this one.
When
Georgia Tech Pitt
goes in the left column.
Boston College is 1-10, people. That's a real stat. Jake, pick this game.
Yeah, if you read where I was going with it, I like Pitt in this spot. Georgia Tech's got massive problems defensively. Now, JP mentioned the over. It could be just a slugfest, just going back and forth between points, which would be fun to watch on a Saturday night. But right now, I like what Pitt can bring to the table. I think it's a bad matchup for Georgia Tech, and it's a Pitt team that these wins matter. And you got this one, and you get one more, and you're Narduzzi's back in Charlotte all of a sudden.
Let's put this down as the first time we use this word in tonight's show. Would you think the computer would pick up the vibe if Pitt was a ranked team here? Because I'd feel a lot better. This would be a 6.5-point spread if Pitt was ranked, just because Brett Key is just the ranked team assassin. I still think he takes care of business. There's too much on the line here for Georgia Tech. Obviously, it's an important game for both teams, but Tech win and you're in and build momentum going into that Georgia game. There's a lot. I think Atlanta's going to be ready to go. Tech takes care of business and plays up to their opponent's level this week, as they've done all season long. JP.
I got Pitt outright. I just think that there is enough, right? I think there is enough for them to stay in this, to slow down the run game enough. Haynes King will have his moments, but you got to have somebody else step up in a spot here and not make him do everything. And I just worry about him playing catch up if Pitt pops a couple quick. Yeah, yep, there you go.
Gotcha.
Right up, like if they come out and they hit a couple big ones, I think there's a real worry in the building. You have to come out of your shell a little bit if you're Georgia Tech. Maybe there's a world in which, I'm wrong and Tech runs the ball really well and Pitt has the turnover issues that Reese mentioned, but I like Pitt.
Reese.
I'm with you, Parksy. I'll take Brent Key and the Georgia Tech.
Ramblers. I like to see. Board leader, boys. The board leader going with me. That's what I like to see right there, baby. All right. Georgia Tech Pitt's going to be a hell of a battle. Same rules apply as the first preview. Drop your score prediction below on this YouTube clip or in the live chat. If you hit it on the nose, we'll send you a free No Rivals cap. So drop those score predictions below. We appreciate you being a part of the show. Hit the subscribe button while you're here. Take a deep breath. Maybe take a drink of your soda while we transfer into the group of 5. But smash the subscribe button. Hit the like button. We appreciate you being here more than you know. Let's do it. With that being said, let's go into the group of 5 game of the week. And that game is Tulane headed on the road to Temple. And you may be like, what the hell are we talking about this game for? Temple? The Temple Owls, like the Matt Rule team from that? No. The Temple team that is scary, to say the least. And all the rumors going around John Summerall and Tulane program also being ranked in the college football playoff ranking. This game has a lot of implications for the rest of the season, and Philadelphia is not an easy place to go win this season. Let's break this game down from the top. G5 fans, subscribe, like the video. Let's cover this game. JP.
Yeah, Temple's going to take the ball out of your hands a lot and take the air out of it. They're going to slow things down, limit possessions kind of on both sides. They're in a situation where Evan Simon, their quarterback, he's been really good. Like, let's just be blunt about it. Only 1 pick on the year. It's an offense that doesn't turn the football over. And it's a Temple team that's found them, or a Tulane teams found themselves in situations defensively where they're giving up points and really can't get off the field spots. This is a balanced attack from the Owls. They're going to find a really, they're not going to blow you away with a run game or a vertical passing game, but it supplements each other and they consistently move the football down the field. And they got 4 receivers above 25 receptions. And you just look at what they have done to this point. 2 1-point losses to Army and Navy. Obviously, you saw some early in the year. They got a weird ECU one where they were in it early, and then it just kind of got out of their hand in the second half. And so you're looking at a team that's very much improved. And what Casey Keller's done there at Temple, it cannot be overlooked. Like, this is a team that looks bought in. It looks put together. They're really prepared each and every week. Now you look at the other side with Tulane, right? They went into the Dome in San Antonio and God, it just looked rough. That's a different team with the Roadrunners in the Dome and out of the Dome, if we're being completely honest.
But keep that in mind this weekend.
Yeah, it got rough. You look at what they've done with Retzlaff, and then when Sullivan's been in there, the offense still scores. They're still talented. There's pieces on the outside that can get you. But this is a pretty darn good Temple defense, and they've been good against the run. ECU is the one outlier in this that got them for over 200. Outside of the service academies and then their Power 4 teams that they went and played right early in the year, it's been a pretty stout American defense. And so that is something to kind of pay attention to and not just knock because you have a Temple tee and, in the red that you're looking at and a white helmet. You're looking at a team that's really improved, and it is a little bit scary. You want Temple to kind of play their game and drag you into it a little bit. And if you're Tulane, you're trying everything you can to just get off to a good start, kind of hold the lead and continue that direction. So how do you look at Temple and what they have in front of them and Tulane and what they have in front of them? Is there anything there that, could be hit by distractions off the field or looking ahead in a spot as well? So that's kind of where I'm looking at things. It's a different threat though, Tulane is offensively, than what Temple's in some ways.
Yeah, it is. It's different. It's probably the better team they played in quite some time. But people who are out there and they're like, Temple's not playing for nothing. They're 5-5. Well, they have this matchup this week and they finish the season next week with North Texas. So they got a chance to play spoiler and to get bowl eligible, which is huge for programs like this. So there is a lot on the line for Temple. And one thing that sticks out to me is when Tulane has gotten beat, and going back to that UTSA game, which, yes, it's different within the Dome, but they couldn't throw the ball in that UTSA game. And look at Temple. It's a top 20 pass defense in college football, gentlemen.
Stout,
top 20 in the team, their pass defense. Retzlaff last in that UTSA game, 14 for 28 for under 200, couple picks. You can create some issues for them throwing the football. You get Tulane outside of what they want to do effectively throughout an entire game. And that's why it really jumps off the page at me. The Temple in this spot at home. The weather, Philadelphia this time of year, not the most beautiful place in the world. You can also create throwing problems in that situation. Granted, Mother Nature's, that's in her hands. But something about Temple in this game tickles the twine. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, that's why, when we talked about this going into the week, I was like, I know we had some other great games in the G5 this week, but I was like, guys, we got to look more into this Temple-Tulane game. It's a trap spot. And now the college football playoff rankings come out, and this is supposed to be in Tulane. This is supposed to be our G5 rep. I think they're wrongly mistaken. That's another soapbox for another day.
Yeah.
The job Keeler has done.
Wrongly mistaken is a new one for me.
Yeah, well.
Double negative.
Sorely mistaken.
What happened? Surely mistaken. Guys, they talked about shutting down this football program in August. It was a legit thing that they wrote an article about. And the job Casey Keeler's done is he just wins football games. And he's never been in the big, the spotlight of things. He's just won football games wherever he's at. Delaware, Sam Houston. And this is a team in Tulane that just, while I took their win total over and I love this football team, they also love to play with their food. And John Summerall this week was just emphatic on. It's so funny, man. They asked him in the press conference leading up this week. He's like, yeah, we got an average football team. And the team I saw practice today is pretty average. And they're like, what do you think about the playoff spot, you being the G5 rep? He's like, well, if we're there must be a lot of bad football teams in college football right now if we're going to be the G5 front runner because we're not playing good football right now. I love his comments. They're hilarious. They're real. We need more of that. But he's kind of right. And this is a team in Temple that just doesn't turn the ball over. Evan Simon has 1 pick on the year. 1 pick. So if Tulane even goes and plays with their food even a little bit and turns it over twice, good luck recovering from that. This is a good opportunity. Last one at home. I believe they play at North Texas next week. So this is the time to play spoiler, get to a bowl game, because I just think North Texas is a bad matchup for Tulane next week. North Texas next week. And I think Temple's got a real shot at getting Tulane this week at home, and I think it's going to be an awesome one.
Reese.
Yeah, you mentioned it, JP. Plus 11 turnover margin for the Temple Owls. And I mean, if you want a chance to do something to a team who's got playoff chances at the end of the year, like take the football away. And also, like offensively, you just talk about Schaefer. I mean, Evan Simon, 22 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like they don't turn the ball over when they do have the pass game going too. Like that's an impressive clip. Like people don't know much about him. Then also like Ducker in the backfield's also been very solid for them too. Like they're balanced, but they like to run the football a lot too. Like they want to establish that physical presence early. It's what Keeler likes his team to be about. And if you're going to win a big football game, like you got to be able to run the football, especially. And I think Tulane, like first year offensive coordinator like Joe Craddock, he's able to knows how to put a run game together with Retzlaff and Gordon, I think too. So kind of slow meshes, using misdirection, get guys going, because this Temple defense also is awful in the red zone. They're 112th in the nation. Like they give up points. So if you're Tulane and you can get long drives, sustained drives, like you're going to get yours in the end zone, because something happens when the boys get over there. They just kind of crumble. They break. They don't bend. They break. So I think that's an issue for Temple, is if you do get in those spots, you have to find a way to get that stop, get a field goal, or get a turnover in that spot too, because I think Tulane offensively, they bring a lot in here that you maybe haven't seen for a little bit. But Temple, if you just play sound football on offense you have been doing, and you can run the ball well, people would say there's a shot you can go and win this football game. So,
all right, let's go to picks in this game. Tulane, 8.5-point favorite on the road in Philly this weekend. Temple coming off a bye. Where do you see it? How do you feel about it, Jake?
Ever since Tulane's first win against Northwestern, 23-3, which looking back on it, what a win for a G5 resume.
Huge.
Northwestern's been a good team this year. Ever since then, though, like they've beaten teams by, I don't even know how many multiple scored games they've won by this year. And so if you're giving me 8.5 points, like no question, I am taking the home team here. I'd kind of love to see him pull the outright win, get James Madison its flowers, and put them as a G5 rep next week. But I could see Tulane come out of this and winning by 2 points or something weird. But you're giving me 8.5 points. Like this would be my dog's dog if we did it, but we preview this game, so it won't be.
Mm-hmm.
But this is easily my favorite underdog of the week. I love Tulane in this spot.
You love Temple.
Sorry, there it is. I just jinxed
it. You got a lot of
too many teams.
Too many teams. People are going to think he's having a stroke. He doesn't do this typically, people. This is out of sorts for Jake. But put me on Temple too.
Thanks.
I like him plus the number. I think 8.5 is too many. Even a touchdown I can see happening. Like Tulane's still a good team. There's a reason they're in the conversation this late. You just got to limit Retzlaff's legs. He can extend plays. Mm-hmm. He can use them. If Temple can do that, hit him a few times, they're going to put themselves in a really good spot with that pass defense. So give me the Owls. JP.
Temple plus the number, sprinkle the money line, have a good time with it. I was with Jake here. Like it's a part of the dog's dog. It's also one that I like a lot. But I don't like that everybody's on it. And B, I'm not going to use that later if we're going to talk about it here. But yeah, sprinkle it. Just pay attention, man. This is one they're going to be ready
is
for.
Everyone
I think
on
both teams are ready.
Let's see where the money's at.
Reese, is everyone on it?
I'll be a savior, boys. I'm going to go with Tulane in this spot. I think Summerall's a coach for a reason, why he's getting looked at for some of these SEC jobs. He can go get his boys fired up for the road on the spot. Retzlaff is still a hell of a quarterback. I think Tulane defensively, as long as you're able to limit Simon in that run game, I think they have a lot more firepower than I think Temple's going to be ready for on defense. So I'll take Tulane in this spot on the road.
According to Undisclosed Sportsbook, 83% of the public's money is on Tulane's spread, according to this one sportsbook.
That's good. We're obviously the public money, which usually
we like to be that. That's a good spot to be. But all right, that's the G5 game of the week. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button if you're a G5 college football fan. We'll cover them every week. As the Friday KC comes in, Jake not exactly painting the corners tonight, but getting a lot of ground balls in the inning. He doesn't get that term either. Not a lot going on between the ears.
That's so good.
Innings involved for Jake, but great comment there. Shout out to Friday KC for staying in the chat and staying with us. But that is the G5 game of the week. Let's move it down the line. Let's go to the best bets of the weekend. Last week, let's do a brief recap before we give these picks. Let me pull it up here. It not a terrible week, right? Or am I thinking of the dog's dog?
Wait, are we
doing the other thing? we can do that.
Oh, you want to open the floor first?
Well, so I was going to say, do we have an upset alert?
The upset?
Does everybody have an upset alert?
Yes, sorry, that's snuck in the chat. 13 weeks in, we're adding new shit. Give me a break. All right, here we go to the upset picks.
Things are happening.
I like it. It's 13 weeks in. I got I'm in my routine. I'm waking up and brushing my teeth and going, yes. But all right, let's go to the upset of the week possibility. Where do you see it? Who's an underdog? Who's going to come out with a big time victory this week? Could be ranked, could be unranked, but where do you see an upset, Jake?
I wanted to put this in here just because, fellas, how many times do we got to say it when we talk about boring slates, quote unquote? There's always good games. These games happen and they get tight and it gets close, especially in November when the pressure's at its highest.
We're going the same spot, aren't we?
I don't know. We might be. Let's go down to Norman. I think there's a real opportunity for Missouri here. With it, if it's Zollers, if it's Perbula, I don't really care at this point. The spread's only 7.5 for a reason. It's the turnover thing with Oklahoma. And Brent Venables can go on the press and say, my defense creates turnovers. This is what it's supposed to be. Fine. But that's not a thing. Like, you can only do the turnover thing so many times, and it's kind of a luck stat. So can they really force Mizzou into a bunch of turnovers? We'll have to wait and see, guys. Ahmad Hardy's coming off of a 300-yard game. Like, that's good enough to eliminate turnovers. If you have a stable back with a good offensive line in Missouri, just keep the ball in his hands and keep the ball away from the other team. And on the other side, I know we talk about Oklahoma's defensive line all the time, but guys, Missouri's defensive line, it's good enough. It may be just as good as Oklahoma's, and it just doesn't get the recognition it deserves. So this has the making for an upset here. Maybe they just have Alabama's number. They're coming off that win, feeling really good about themselves. They're already looking ahead. They're looking at that playoff spot because they're probably not going to be playing in the SEC title. And then Missouri's got, I think, a lot to play for still to get their brand up within the SEC.
The one game right? I want to be checking in on Jake there. All right, maybe a little drink. Take a little sip, Jake. So take something. But I feel like my game shouldn't stand out because of where the line is. But if you're not paying attention, it's not getting a ton of national media coverage. But I mean, TCU headed on the road to play a ranked Houston team, a college football playoff ranked Houston team. It's only a 1.5 point spread in favor of Houston, but that could knock Houston out of conversations that they're in right now. So watch out for Josh Hoover and company to take a win against Wegman and Houston this weekend. JP?
Yeah, head down to Nashville where the streets are packed and the country music's poppy.
That was my second.
Kentucky and Vanderbilt, right? If you are Vanderbilt, maybe you're looking ahead to next week in Knoxville and what that truly means to that program and what the opportunity really is. And then you kind of look at Kentucky, 3 straight. Cutter Boley's kind of played better and better. That teams look better, even in a situation where, they kind of got beat pretty good by Tennessee. They battled for a while. They were putting up points. This isn't a Vanderbilt defense against the pass that is just going to blow you away. Kentucky has an identity. They're going to run the ball. They're more of a pro set, but they've been able to air it out a little bit the last couple of weeks. So pay attention to that. And it's not a bad Kentucky defense. I think that gets lost in this shuffle. They're just on the field a lot and they don't have a ton of support through if we're being honest. Yep. And so if you aren't paying attention here and you aren't locked in Nashville, there's a chance the Cats come out with a win as I think a 9.5, almost 10-point dog. So just look alive there.
Yeah, shout out to all the college football shows or college football channels last week that put out content around, Tennessee Tech being 10-0 and rolling into Kentucky. That game did not raise any flags for the Cats. So they're riding high off a good win against that good FCS team. Reese?
Yeah, you boys want a stinky one that I'm not sure how I got butter, but you think where I'm going to go in the Big 12 with this one, Shave? Got an inkling?
Well, if you're going Big 12.
Don't go to Boulder. Are you doing it?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
There's a big spread out there, and a coach when he was when he was first around, he went to Oklahoma and beat this team a couple times. How about K-State on the road going to Utah? Am I picking up my dog? No, it's an upset that could happen. This is a Utah team that blitzes more than anybody else in the Big 12. Avery Johnson's a quarterback with his legs. Short throws out early. When Klieman was first there at K-State, he beat Oklahoma 3 out of 4 years when they were both in the top. I think it was top 7. And those spreads were all in the 20s. So, this is a coach where we were high on K-State at the start of this year. Hasn't panned out the way it is, but still a smart football-minded coach that can go in there and put a scheme together. Yes, you're going into right cycles. I've said how tough it is to play there. Jace Brown is also out for K-State, so that also hurts. But, hey, you never know. K-State's played some bad football. They've also played some really good football. So, 17.5. That'd be an upset.
It's a big upset.
Surely would be.
Big upset. But all right, that's the upsets of the week and where we see it. Let's go to the betting segment now in tonight's show. Let's go to the best bet first. Recap of last week. Reese falls to 4-8. Indiana minus 28.5 versus Wisconsin did not hit. Myself, USF minus 9.5 against Navy. They lost the damn game. JP, the solo winner of week 12, Georgia and Texas under 48.5. It got close, not close enough. That's a winner.
Not close
and
enough.
Then Jake, Duke minus 4 versus Virginia. They got beat. So they did not even win the game.
Both my picks last week were atrocious.
Let's get the best bets for this weekend.
Roll even, baby.
Let's turn the page, and I'm going to let myself go first because I had a great week on the board last week, and we just talked about it. I'll take Utah minus 17.5 against Oklahoma State.
Good pick.
Yeah. I'll take
Kansas State.
I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. They both suck. Give me Utah against both.
Both bad.
I was going to say, too, I think Kansas State can run the ball. I think Joe Jackson, he literally doesn't know how to read a block. They've put it on Twitter multiple times. He's not DJ Giddens, and that's K-State at its best. And
I'll take K-State Utah minus 17.5 to cover the number against a Kansas State team that is struggling, to say the least, and a Utah team that's trying to make statements as they work their way into the college football playoff conversation. JP.
Yeah, I got a team welcoming in a team from the Pac-12. We got a chance to make another statement. Less than 2 touchdowns. Give me James Madison.
Yeah, I love it. I love that pick too.
Lost in the shuffle of all this.
Should have been game day, I heard.
Yeah.
Should have been.
I don't think they were not happy apparently with those guys. The lost in the shuffle is how good James Madison's defense has played throughout this year in Sun Belt play. So
good pick, JP.
Shot me.
Good pick.
Your pick.
Yeah, they call me Big Ten Jake for a reason, right? Illinois minus 7.5.
That was my other one. Yeah.
Damn it, man!
I definitely said Reese your pick, but it's okay. Jake takes the floor. Jake takes.
I thought you said me.
I didn't hear anything. I got scared by the clapping.
Did I steal your pick, Reese?
You can have it. You already said it. It's yours.
No, that was yours. Right. No, you can have it.
No,
I apologize.
I already have it written.
It was 1A.
Bad. It's set in stone. That's the way the world works.
I feel bad.
Got it written
on the board. I tried to gift it to you, but
I feel bad.
What do you got?
I got scared by the clapping. I didn't hear you say my name at all. I'm gonna go a team needs a little bit of a bounce back. I'm gonna go Tennessee on the road at the Swamp minus the 4. I think it's not a look ahead spot because you have Vanderbilt coming to town next week. But I think it's a spot where you gotta get yourself back on track. Joey Aguilar on that offense, get it going. Get some stops on defense. We know what's going on in Florida with the coaching and everything kind of going on there. So, what do they really have? So I'm going to take Tennessee minus the 4 in this spot.
All right. There is the best bets for week 13. Make sure you head to the counter, place those bets. And when you win, use it on a free no rivals shipping cap. I should say free shipping, no rivals cap. ShopNoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on the best hats in collegiate sports. Let's move on to the dog's dog, the underdog of the week. Who's out there that you like them to win a game that Vegas doesn't see him winning?
Hey, recap.
We've had some movement on the leaderboard, and there's a late season push happening by moi. 20 points at the top. I had an outright winner last week with Jack State. Shout out to the Friday KC. We rode them all the way, and they win the game outright. Last week, Reese had a winner. Iowa plus the 7 against USC, 26-21. That's within 7, according to my math.
Cover.
JP, West Virginia plus 11.5 at Arizona State.
Oh, so close. Jake called that one stupid.
Loser. He did call it stupid, and then
that's why JP wanted to cover that. That's why only reason why JP wanted to cover that.
The entire time, bro.
That's it.
God, that was dumb. That's so.
And then Jake, the lone loser of week 12 on the dog's dog board, Michigan State plus the 7.5 against Penn State. They lost 28-10.
Shape, just tell me look at this leaderboard. Shape, tell me look at the leaderboard.
No, I'm
go
still
over.
State. Arizona State gets up 8. Arizona State was up 12. Give up a 93-yard screen pass on 3rd and 15. On 3rd and 15.
Cover play. You ever heard of it? It's called the cover play.
Just run the cover play.
Standings as is. Myself in first with 20 points. Reese following up right behind my tail, 19 points. Jake 3 points behind him with 16, and JP rounding out at 15. Fellas, if you pick it above 10.5 point underdog and they win outright, we could have a complete board switch. So everything's still on the table going into week 13. Where do you see your pick? Where's the underdog? What do people need to be taking? JP, you're up first.
There's a rivalry happening this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's located close, but not directly next to the adult cheerleading facility. It's close. It's walking distance. North Carolina +7 against Duke. They've been playing a little bit better as the season's gone on. Duke's on the road. Just stay within the number in a rivalry game. And wouldn't it be hilarious if Bill Belichick at the end of this can be like, hey, we got Duke though. Thoughts? It's gross.
Yeah, it's just something he could do.
Thoughts?
Backwards. So Jake, you're up.
Yeah, I don't like to steal bits from other shows, but I mean, this is as sick as it gets. I'm gonna be playing the points with a team on the road against a football team that lost to Austin Peay earlier this year, 34-14. And I'm taking a team that's won 2 in a row in Conference USA. Give me Sam Houston +2-8
Sam Houston
against Middle Tennessee. Guys, let me lay this out for you. Middle Tennessee's one win came at Nevada, 14-13. Since then, they have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row, giving up 56 points to FIU, giving up 42 points to Western Kentucky. I mean, you're giving me a full touchdown with Middle Tennessee. We're expecting a team to cover that. I think they changed quarterbacks too, and the guy might be better, but not a chance. Give me the Bearcats with a K.
All right, 2-8 against a 1-8, 1-9 team. That's finding them. That's seeing the board well. It seems like I thought I was the only one. I hated all the dogs this week. I really didn't have one that stuck out, but I found my pick. I will say back to the comment that we got from Friday KC talking about Jack State +1.5. The start of the season, we decided it has to be 3.5 or more points as an underdog to qualify as an underdog for this game purpose. So that's an underdog, not good enough for Play the Fight song. So they should win that game anyway. Friday, KC. Reese, your pick.
Another stinky one here, boys, but I need double digits because I kind of want to get a little separation going. I'm going to take UCLA plus the 10.5 with Washington coming to town. Yep. Hold your breath, Dave. Hold your breath, Shave.
Thanks.
Don't know if I see that one. Don't know if I see that one.
Hey, remember when Penn State came to town? Remember that one?
Tough place to play. I like that.
In there. There's dozens of fans that are going to be in there, buddy. Hey,
Penn last game at the Rose Bowl. Do they play at USC? Is this the last game at the last game of the Rose Bowl for the Bruins?
I don't know where that game is.
I don't either.
Could be.
Fellas, I hate
have Google.
I don't like the underdogs. I'm trying to really say, all right, my pick makes sense, but I'm not sure I can justify it, but it's just a gut feeling. We're going off the vibes. Second time.
Don't do it.
Maryland. Plus 14 against Michigan at home.
Dog.
Thought you were taking the Skurs. Michigan. Thought you were going to take the Skurs.
No, I do think they cover, but I don't feel great about it because I had it a 7-point loss. Check out the fan perspectives, by the way. Great plug, Jake. All fan perspectives will be streaming by the time you listen to this. Iowa drops tomorrow morning, JP, correct? Iowa State out there, the Kansas preview, my preview for the Penn State game. Little spoiler alert in there. But check out the breakdowns of those games live on our YouTube right now and hit the subscribe button while you're there. But I'll take Maryland plus the 14. And I want 14 because I could push in this case scenario. Not that it would help me. But Michigan's been playing with their food a little bit. And Maryland's got a young, talented freshman quarterback that you should definitely look into if you haven't. And I think they can make some things very interesting for the Wolverines in Week 13. So that is the Dog's Dog. That is the betting segments for the show. And that is the Play the Fights on College Football show for Week 13. We covered a lot. We covered some 3 marquee matchups along with our G5 game of the week. Talked a little Week 12. Gave you some upset picks. Gave you some winners. Gave you some underdogs to watch out for. That's what we do here. So make sure you hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Shout out shopnorivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping. We will see you next
Honorable mention, Delaware plus 17.5 at Wake. Just pay attention. Just be on the watch.
Pay attention. I didn't even see a line on that live yet, so I appreciate that. 17.5. I like that. Delaware. But we'll see you next week. We're going to talk Wednesday night. It'll be a pre-recorded show, but we'll still throw some college football content out at you for rivalry week. Since we won't see you live and be able to tell you this, happy Thanksgiving. Let's enjoy the holidays. Let's enjoy these last couple weeks of college football. We love you. We'll see you next week. Jake, take it away.
Let's play it.